Hello, glorious souls. How are you? Today I'm talking about something I learned a long time ago, and it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm going to tell you all about it and why it applies to where we are and what the bodies are doing to us. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So when I started my career in textiles, I was a work-study engineer. And part of the training was to learn about how people are motivated, what gets them going. And part of the learning was to learn Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? So it's designed in a triangle, and you may have seen this triangle before, something very similar in other areas of the truth world, yeah? So it starts off at the very base level. The very basic level. What do we need? Well, we just need physiological stuff. What does that mean? Well, we need to breathe, right? We need to be breathing. When we're breathing, we need food. When we've got food, we need water, all right? So we've got to have the basic essentials. And we also need shelter and clothing. And we need to be able to sleep. So the very basic stuff. Once we've got that, then our perception opens up and we want something else, which is the next level. And the next level is safety and security. Okay? So we want health, we want employment, we want property, if we can get it somewhere that we can call our own, family, and to be able socially to interact. Okay? So that's the next level. So once we've got our basic stuff in place, then we need the next stuff. Okay, second level. Third level is self-esteem. Okay, so that's confidence, achievement, respect. We want to be unique. Okay. Once we've got that, then we can move up to the next level. And the next level is self-actualization. This is the top level. There are other levels after this that he added, but this is the main one. Self-actualization, and that's morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, purpose, meaning, inner potential. Okay, so that's kind of the steps that we go through. However, because it's built on a pyramid, we can't have the top one unless we've got the bottom ones in place. In fact, if anything is taken out of the bottom, everything crumbles, the whole thing crumbles. So why am I telling you this? What's this about? Well, Maslow knew it, and the baddies know it as well. And so what they are constantly trying to do with us is to knock away the bottom level. To knock away the bottom level and maybe the second level. They don't want people self-actualizing. They don't want people, this is a process of waking up, really. And beyond this top level of self-actualization is this spirituality, the returning to self, returning to God. They don't want us up there. So what do? Well, what they do is they take away our bottom level, which is the physiological level. How do they do that? Well, they can aim to stop us from breathing. They can make us scared of our existence, worried about our existence. How do they do that? Well, with threats of whatever, pandemics, left, right and centre, nuclear war. They can threaten us with all of that. If they take all of that away, that bottom level, the whole thing collapses. And all we want is we want to be safe. We want to keep breathing. Yeah, we want shelter. We want safety. But not only that, the clever bit is, if they take that away, that's all that we think about. That's all that we're interested in. And it's very real, because all you need do is talk to somebody who is in fear of their life, who's in fear of the future, who's worried about the world coming to an end. And you try and talk to them about higher levels. Try and talk to them about spirituality. Try and talk to them about returning to God, or doing the inner work, and they will say, fuck that. I just want to be safe. I just want to be secure. And so in many ways, they have to perpetuate this constant fear, this place of being unsure about tomorrow. because that takes us right to the bottom level and it makes us focus only on that. And that's why you can't talk to somebody who's asleep. What does it mean to be asleep? Somebody who believes the narrative, somebody who believes that the world is coming to an end, somebody who believes that the Russians could possibly drop a nuclear bomb on us and that would be the end of it. Everything else is surplus then. All that we want is safety. And where do we turn when we want safety? Well, we turn to the people who supposedly can help us with that. You know, every crisis that they've created, the work afterwards has always been for the greater good. For the greater good. They want to help us to be secure. In fact, in the Bible, it says that in the last days, they will say peace and security. Now, it doesn't say there will be peace and security. The Bible says they will say peace and security. That's all that they can offer, is the promise of peace and security. It's shit at the moment, but hey, if you keep voting for us, we will give you security. The interesting thing is that the security is always there. All they do is they give us the perception of it being taken away, but it's always there. Right, granted, this is a dangerous world, and the way that they behave puts a lot of people in danger, and so it's understandable that, you know, if you go to a war-torn world and talk about spirituality, lots of people will poo-poo that and say, that's a load of shit. I'm interested in taking care of my family and protecting my family. So what's the answer when they keep knocking away our bottom level? Well, the answer is to become the Buddha. The answer is to rise above it, literally. And this is rise above the bottom level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When we know, as the classic kind of gurus all around the world have said, all is well. This is Anthony de Mello, everything's a mess and all is well. That's what helps us to stay on this top level and beyond, is understanding that all is well. Now that's really hard to do when you're in the maelstrom of, you know, you're in the eye of the storm. It's very difficult to do. However, it is doable. It's like the man who was in this hole as a prisoner and the soldiers came to him and said, by the way, tomorrow we're going to execute you. And he was sitting there, it was the night time, and he tried to get to sleep and he could not get to sleep. He couldn't, because all he could think about was losing his life the next day. And then he remembered his teacher, his spiritual teacher, who used to say, everything's a mess, but all is well. And there's only the present. This is the only thing that we have that's real. And when he realized that the present is the only thing, then his mind calmed and he went to sleep. The next day he got killed. All right. But at least he had a good night's sleep. That's basically where we are. Could we lose our life in this battle? Absolutely we could. Could it all be over on this physical realm with this physical body? Yes, it could. But does it really change anything? Does it really matter in the scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. All is well. Now that's a hard concept to get a hold of. You know, when somebody's got a knife up against your neck, the last thing you're going to be saying is, I am the Buddha, I am the Buddha. But you can get there, and at least we can have moments where we get into that, everything's okay. Yes, it's a mess, but everything's okay. How do we do that? How do we get into the everything's okay? Well, we've got to have faith, as George Michael said. We've got to have faith. It's faith that allows us to be able to go through the worst times ever and understand that all is well, understand that everything will be all right. And that doesn't mean everything will be all right in this life and it'll all get sorted. That doesn't mean that. It means everything's all right in the entire scheme of things. And this life is just, as a lady used to say to me in my Newcastle factory, it's just another slice off the loaf. That's all. And that's what we've got to look at. We've got to look at the bigger picture and understand, hey, it doesn't matter. Let them do the worst. Let them do the worst. That's their job. Our job is to believe that there's much more to this than just that. That's when they lose the power. That's when they lose their power. The only power that they have is to make us scared, to make us worried about our safety, about our breathing. It's very important for us to breathe. But hey, if we don't breathe, it ain't over. It's just an end of a paragraph. It's at the end. We hit a comma, that's all. Breathing, or the lack of, is just a comma in the existence of our life. Yeah? So, fuck them. So what? Don't let them knock away your foundations and stay up in the high bit. It doesn't mean that we're going to be there all the time. Of course we're going to drop up and down, but we've got the ladder and we need to keep that ladder in place no matter what they do, no matter what the bastards do. So let's start self-actualizing. Let's start finding who we really are, and the rest of it is just confetti in the wind. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later.